Hi kids, welcome to Halloween Storytime. I'm Nadia from the Public Library in Owen Sound, and I'm excited to be here with my colleagues today to share some fun Halloween stories and songs with you. The first story we have is It's Raining Bats and Frogs, which is written by Rebecca Colby, and it was illustrated by Stephen Henry, and it published by Fievel and Friends. Oh, we've got lots of bats and frogs. It's raining bats and frogs. Every year, Delia looked forward to flying in the witch parade. This year was no different, despite the black clouds hanging overhead. I think it's going to rain, said Delia. Uh-oh. It did rain, hard. The witches were wet and miserable. It's raining on our parade, wailed one. Positively pouring buckets, moaned another. And that gave Delia an idea. Delia whipped out her wand and began to chant. It's raining, it's pouring, but raindrops are boring. Change the rainfall on my head, make it cats and dogs instead. Would that be better if it was raining actual cats and dogs than raindrops? Let's see. There they are, they're all falling out of the sky. Nice doggy. I never met a cat I didn't like. The witches were thrilled at first. What could possibly go wrong? Then the parade came to an abrupt halt. You call this a cat? Dag nabbit, give me back my broom. This will never do, said Delia, raising her wand a second time. The raining and pouring may have been quite boring, but cats and dogs, they just don't work. They hiss and bark and go berserk. So change what's falling on my head and make it hats and clogs instead. Hats and clogs. Wonder if that will fix things. Look at all of those different hats and so many clogs. Black hats, my favorite. A girl can never have too many shoes. The witches were overjoyed at first. Then the parade erupted into a free-for-all. Delia sighed. What a big to-do, she said, waving her wand again. The raining and pouring may have been quite boring, but hats and clogs have got to go inciting fights, creating woe. So change what's falling on my head and make it bats and frogs instead. Do you think that will fix things? Oh, there they are, all those bats and frogs falling out of the sky. Switch says, snack time, girls. The witches were ecstatic at first. Ew, look at all that slime. Then the witches became even more wet and miserable than before. What should we do now? Wondered Delia. Delia had run out of ideas. Gnats and bogs? She mumbled to herself. Mats and logs? Rats and hogs? Would you want any of those things falling on your head? The more Delia thought about it, the more she realized there was only one thing to do. With that, she raised her wand one last time and chanted, the raining and pouring wasn't really boring, and bats and frogs just make a mess. They drop and plop and cause distress. So change what's falling on my head back to drops of rain instead. The witches were relieved. The parade soon proceeded, and the longer it rained, the more exciting the parade became. The floats began to float, and the marching band learned synchronized swimming. And Delia and her friends tossed water balloons into the crowd. Everyone agreed it was the best parade ever. Until the year it snowed. And that's the end. So now we have a Halloween song for you. This one reminds me of all of the gross things you put in a witch's cauldron. It's called Chicken Lips and Lizard Hips, and it's written by John and Nancy Cassidy. When I was a little kid, I never liked to eat. Mama put things on my plate, I'd dump 'em on her feet. Then one day she made this soup, I ate it all in bed. I asked her what she put in it, and this is what she said. Oh, chicken lips and lizard hips and alligator eyes, monkey legs and buzzard eggs and salamander thighs, rabbit ears and camel rears and tasty toenail pies. Stir 'em all together, it's Mama's soup surprise. Ew. Well, now I went in the bathroom and I stood beside the sink. I said, I'm feeling slightly ill, I think I'd like a drink. Mama said, I've just the thing, I'll get it in a wink. It's full of lots of protein and vitamins, I think. What was it? Well, it was chicken lips and lizard hips and alligator eyes, monkey legs and buzzard eggs and salamander thighs, rabbit ears and camel rears and tasty toenail pies. Stir 'em all together, it's Mama's soup surprise. Yum, yum.
Hi everyone, Sharon here from the library with a Halloween story and song. And we're going to start with the song first, called A Spider on the Floor. And as you can see, I have a spider and he's starting off on the floor. There's a spider on the floor, on the floor. There's a spider on the floor, on the floor. Who could ask for any more? There's a spider on the floor, there's a spider on the floor, on the floor. Uh-oh, it's moving up my leg. There's a spider on my leg, on my leg. There's a spider on my leg, on my leg. Oh, he's really, really big, this old spider on my leg. There's a spider on my leg, on my leg. Uh-oh, he's starting to creep up to my stomach. There's a spider on my stomach, on my stomach. Now the spider's on my stomach, on my stomach. Oh, he's just a dumb old lummox, this old spider on my stomach. There's a spider on my stomach, on my stomach. He's moving up to my neck. There's a spider on my neck, on my neck. Oh, there's a spider on my neck, on my neck. Oh, I'm gonna be a wreck, this old spider on my neck. There's a spider on my neck, on my neck. Ah! He's moving over to my face. Oh no, I don't know if I can play anymore. Now there's a spider on my face, on my face. There's a spider on my face, on my face. Oh, what a big disgrace, this old spider on my face. There's a spider on my face, on my face. He fell off. Now the spider's on my head, on my head. No, the spider's on my head, on my head. Oh, I wish that I were dead. I've got a spider on my head. There's a spider on my head, on my head. Oh, he jumped off. Now the spider's on the floor, on the floor. Now the spider's on the floor, on the floor. Who could ask for any more? There's a spider on that's where we're going to leave him. Bye, Spider. So now I have a story to read to you called The Halloweener. And it is written by and illustrated by Dave Pilkey, who you probably know from Captain Underpants. The Halloweener. There once was a dog named Oscar who was half a dog tall and 1.5 dogs long. Because of his unusual shape and size, all the other dogs made fun of him. Wiener dog, they called him. And Oscar did not like it one bit. Poor Oscar. Oscar's mother was no help either. Every morning when the dogs walked off to obedience school, Oscar's mother stood in the front yard, waving and calling out, "Farewell, my little Vienna sausage." And the other dogs laughed and laughed. And even the cats, look at those cats. Most of the time, Oscar was upset by all of this, but not today. Today was Halloween, and Oscar was thinking about other things. All day long at obedience school, Oscar daydreamed about Halloween night. Trick-or-treats and scary costumes. When Oscar got home, he dashed upstairs to start working on his scary Halloween costume. But when he got to his room, a surprise was waiting for him. "Happy Halloween, my little sausage link," said Oscar's mother. "I've made you a costume to wear for trick-or-treating." Oh, look at this. When Oscar saw the costume, he nearly fainted. It was a giant hot dog bun, complete with mustard. And guess who was supposed to fit into it? Oscar did not want to hurt his mother's feelings, so he decided to wear the silly costume. That night, all the dogs on the block gathered to show off their costumes. Everyone was looking quite scary. Then Oscar showed up, looking quite frank. When the dogs saw Oscar in his silly costume, they howled with laughter. "Look at Oscar," they cried. "He really is a wiener dog." Poor Oscar was so embarrassed. "Wiener dog," laughed the other dogs as they ran off to go trick-or-treating. Oscar tried to keep up with the dogs, but his silly costume kept slowing him down. All night long, the other dogs hounded every treat they could get their paws on. So by the time Oscar got to each house, there were no treats left. Oh, his little basket is empty. Soon trick-or-treating was over and the dogs walked home past a spooky graveyard. Suddenly, a horrible hissing sound filled the air. Hiss! The dogs stopped dead in their tracks. Then, out of the graveyard rose a ghastly monster. The dogs screamed for their lives. They dropped their treats and jumped into the nearby pond. The monster moved closer. "Please don't eat us," cried the dogs. The monster yowled and hissed. "Boo-hoo-hoo," sobbed the dogs. The monster jumped up and down. "Somebody save us," shrieked the dogs. Just then, somebody showed up. It was Oscar. Because Oscar was so short, he saw something that the other dogs had not seen. "That's no monster," cried Oscar, and with a loud bark, Oscar waddled to their rescue. Oscar chomped and tugged with all his might. Oh, what do you see underneath that costume? Oh, I wonder. Rip! And there, standing in the moonlight, were a couple of ornery cats. "Help!" cried the cats. "We're being attacked by a giant Frankfurter!" and they ran off screaming through the graveyard. The dogs in the pond had seen the whole thing, and now it was their turn to be embarrassed. "We've been chased into a pond by a couple of cats," they moaned. But Oscar was a true friend. He leapt into the water and swam out to the dogs. Oscar's silly costume made a wonderful life raft, and the dogs jumped up. "All aboard," Oscar called, and he dog paddled back to the shore. When they got back to dry land, all the dogs shared their Halloween treats with Oscar. Because Oscar had been so brave, the dogs changed his nickname from Wiener Dog to Hero Sandwich. And from that night on, nobody ever made fun of Oscar again. Happy Halloween!
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details. Sports fans know Sundays are for football. That's why you need NFL Sunday tickets. With NFL Sunday Ticket, you'll get every live game every Sunday all season long. More plays, more action, more to love, live in HD. Order NFL Sunday Ticket for only $199.99. Get up to 200 regular season games every Sunday afternoon. Call 1-888-ROGERS-1 today.
Sometimes, for a wish to come true, it takes a kingdom, because together is stronger. Tied tight, united we stand, in honor of one child's wish, to fuel the fire that will grant many more. Join the kingdom.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Hi everyone, my name is Cassie and I work here at the Owen Sound in North Grey Union Public Library. Today I'm going to share with you a very fun song called Down by the Bay. Instead of where the watermelons grow, we're going to sing where the jack-o'-lanterns grow. Here we go. Down by the bay, where the jack-o'-lanterns grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say. Down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say.
Did you ever see a bat dancing with a rat?
Down by the bay, where the jack-o'-lanterns grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say.
Did you ever see a vampire making a campfire?
Down by the bay, where the jack-o'-lanterns grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say.
Did you ever see a witch scratching an itch?
Down by the bay, where the jack-o'-lanterns grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say.
Did you ever see a troll digging a hole?
Down by the bay, where the jack-o'-lanterns grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother would say. Excellent. So we're going to share a very fun, spooky book with you called Frankenstein Doesn't Wear Earmuffs. Upon a haunted Halloween in deepest dungeon lair, awakens monstrous Frankenstein to give you all a scare. Beneath a grim and ghostly sky, the moon alight with fright, Frankenstein emerges on a dark and stormy... Hold it. Not so fast there, Frankenstein. Those clouds are looking iffy. So take my old galoshes here. They're waterproof and spiffy. In giant red and floppy boots that just don't fit him right, Frankenstein emerges on a dark and stormy... Hang on. It's getting pretty chilly out. You'll need some warmer gear. So take a scarf and parka, please, and stick these on your ears. In giant red and floppy boots with earmuffs way too bright, Frankenstein emerges on a dark and stormy... Hey, wait! One more thing you'd better bring. You'll thank us later, champ. It's mighty dark outside tonight, so take my camping lamp. Just a moment, this won't do. Your pail's not up to snuff. Try this spacious fanny pack to carry all your stuff. Like batteries and extra socks, you can't be too prepared. A roll of tape for stuff that breaks. Reflective underwear. And don't forget, before you go, to snag a wholesome snack. These crunchy nuts and raisins are the perfect thing to pack. In giant red and floppy boots with earmuffs way too bright, a puffy orange parka and a heavy camping light, some smelly, stinky tube socks and a... Okay, that's it. Frankenstein doesn't wear earmuffs. Ugh. There's no dungeon that can hold him. Your earmuffs are no use. For Halloween's begun at last and Frankenstein is loose. But the wind is really whipping. It's pretty dark and foggy. His Franken tummy's grumbling. His shoes are getting soggy. Now his ears are feeling frosty, and he starts to Franken think that maybe this year's Halloween will really Franken stink. Hey, hi, hello, hi. Who could that be? Look, the witch has woolly mittens and the werewolf's got a sweater. The ghosts have fuzzy hats on. And he feels a little better. So Frankenstein wore earmuffs on that night so grim and ghostly, and dark and stormy Halloween was pretty warm and toasty. And that's the end. Happy Halloween!
Hi everyone, Sharon back again with one more song called I Shut the Door. I shut the door and I lock it tight and I hide that key key right out of sight. I find the key to open the door, and I turn and I turn and I turn some more, and then I open the door. What do we see?
A ghost.
I shut the door and I lock it tight, and I hide that key right out of sight. I find the key to open the door, and I turn and I turn and I turn some more, and then I open the door. What do we see?
A vampire.
A vampire! I shut the door and I lock it tight, and I hide that key right out of sight. I find the key to open the door, and I turn and I turn and I turn some more, and then I open the door. What are we gonna see this time?
A fluffy bunny.
Oh, I'm gonna leave the door open. Come on in, bunny. See ya.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Giovanni! Fire! The neighbor's farm is on fire. It's almost to the road. It's heading for us.
Help me get the animals out of the barn.
The fire's getting closer.
I'm on the horse.
The house is burning.
Get out to the river. Get up.
Can't leave everything. Careful! Don't fall.
Come on, we have to hurry.
I'm afraid. There's the river. We're going to make it. I can't swim.
Yes, you can.
Hurry! Hurry!
You must get in.
I can't.
Watch out for sparks.